A modern take on the sounds of yesteryear. You're watching Encore, and that's what's coming up on this week's music show. She's the Canadian chanteuse captivating music lovers with her velvety, bluesy rasp and electrifying groove. Elise LeGrow pays tribute to the iconic Chicago label Chess Records on her debut album, Playing Chess. She's here in Paris for a one-night-only gig and is also here in the studio. Elise LeGrow, thank you for being here today. Welcome to the show. Your debut album, Playing Chess, it's a reinterpretation of 50s and 60s blues and R&B songs from the iconic Chess Records catalogue. How intimidating was that? I mean, you must have known there was a huge risk involved when it came to radically rearranging these classic songs.
Absolutely. And, there's always a risk when you're covering material that is so well loved that, frankly, there's gonna be some people that don't love your interpretation of it. But you have to approach a project like this with some level of fearlessness, and that's kind of what I tried to bring to this project. And I think the arrangements are so different that I think we achieved that.
So, what drew you to the challenge then?
Well, I've been singing music from this era since I was a little kid, so I guess I'm used to sort of to having that challenge as a singer, as an interpreter, and yeah, this is just part of that tradition.
Okay, well, let's take a listen to your latest single, "Rescue Me."
Rescue me, or take me in your arms, rescue me. I want your tender charm, 'cause I'm lonely and I'm blue. I need you and your love too. Come on and rescue me. Come on, baby, and rescue me. Come on, baby, and rescue me. 'Cause I need you by my side. Can't you see that I'm lonely? Rescue me. Come on.
That was a cover of the Fontella bass classic "Rescue Me." Elise, how did you strike a balance between respecting the original work while also adding your own flavor, the Elise LeGrow flavor?
Well, we really wanted to make the songs like "Rescue Me" and "Who Do You Love" and "You Never Can Tell," which are, hugely famous songs. We really wanted to make them radically different because you can't do Chuck Berry better than Chuck Berry,
Right.
so we really had to take it somewhere, or Fontella bass better than Fontella bass, and so we achieved that in a lot of ways, by stripping it down. In a lot of cases, the version of "Rescue Me," for example, that we've taken away a lot of the production elements that are present in the original recording and really boiled them down to the bones, really. And so we did that on a few of the songs. "You Never Can Tell" is another one that we sort of approached it that way. So it was this sort of really big production, big sound, and we brought it down.
Stripped it back.
Exactly.
Now, the record was produced by the same trio behind Joss Stone's massive album, The Soul Sessions, which I can't believe it was 15 years ago.
I know.
It makes me feel very old. And you also had people like Questlove from The Roots and the Dap Kings contribute. What did you learn from them?
Well, I learned a lot working with Betty Wright. She is such a legend, a career that a singer could only dream of.
Right.
And she did everything from giving me little vocal exercises, like really vocal coaching, which she does for a lot of singers. Everything from that just down to infusing the room with her energy and sort of how to bring, because a lot of times it was just her and I in the studio, and some singers go in with a whole entourage. Well, Betty is kind of like an entourage in herself. Wow. So it was really a pleasure working with her.
And an experience that money can't buy, surely. Now, in one interview, you said you would never touch the Etta James song "At Last," calling it sacred, and that's fair enough. I have to agree with you there. What are some other pieces of music that you consider off limits?
Oh, that's a good question. I wouldn't cover Aretha Franklin, "Respect."
Okay.
There's just
Fair enough.
there's a few like that.
That's a tough one.
Yeah. Those two are really up there. I guess in part because of my reverence for both of those singers, Aretha and Etta, and and I guess to me there's just some material that has been covered so much. And that also the original recording has this, the best word for it is sacred to me, like I wouldn't want to touch it.
With a 10-foot pole is what I think you said in that interview. You said you wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, you will never hear me singing At Last or
Okay, alrighty. Never say never. Now, in recent years, we've seen many artists throw back to the retro sounds of yesteryear, from Amy Winehouse to Adele, and even Bruno Mars, what he's been doing with his last couple of albums. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think there is something that's really attractive about those horn sounds, those background singers, and a lot of these elements are not present in a lot of pop music today. So I think just by virtue of their absence, there is kind of an attraction by some artists, certainly myself, and of course Bruno Mars and Amy Winehouse, to this timeless sound that a lot of other artists are not doing today. So I think that makes it really attractive.
All auto-tune and sort of...
There's a lot of auto-tune happening, and a lot of records without any real human musicians.
Instrumentation.
Yeah, in the studio.
Machines.
So, yeah, exactly. And that's not the kind of record that I personally want to make. And so, it was such a thrill to work with, to have the Dap Kings and Questlove.
Amazing.
And, these not only real human beings, but exceptionally talented and experienced players on this record.
Amazing. Wow. Like I said before, an experience that money can't buy. Right, we're going to take a quick spin through the week's music news now. Goddess of glamour and queen of burlesque, Dita Von Teese has teamed up with French musician Sébastien Tellier for her self-titled debut album. The bombshell channels a sultry French chanteuse purring her way through Gallic pop-inspired tracks with names such as My Lips on Your Lips, Dangerous Guy and Parfum, all written and produced by Tellier. She said making the record was like living out a Serge Gainsbourg, Brigitte Bardot fantasy. Let's listen to the sensual, hypnotic cut, Rendezvous. Now, Elise, Dita Von Teese sang in French for several songs on that album. Would you ever sing in a different language, perhaps French? I know that French is an official language in Canada, so...
I absolutely would, and actually funny story about that, because I've been learning French on Duolingo. Don't quiz me because it's coming along very slowly.
I'm going to test you right now.
And most of the Duolingo stuff is like, the dog is brown, the sky is, like really basic kind of stuff. But I had this weird experience where Duolingo was feeding me these really profound, sometimes existential phrases. And so I actually constructed a song that was made almost entirely of phrases that I had learned from Duolingo. And so I'm already working on my first French song.
So we will hear a chanson française from Elise LeGrow soon. You heard it here first, guys. Now, next, he's the hottest rapper on the planet, and she's the sizzling up-and-coming R&B singer-songwriter. Kendrick Lamar enlisted the help of SZA for the soundtrack for the hotly anticipated new Marvel film Black Panther, an album that also features Anderson .Paak, The Weeknd and Future. The lead single, All the Stars, features defiant verses from Kendrick, with SZA dropping the radio-friendly pop hook. Take a look at the sumptuous, ambitious new clip. Well, that brings us to the end of the show. Thank you once again to our guest, Elise LeGrow. Thank you so much for being here. Remember, her new album, Playing Chess, drops this week. Elise, you're going to play us out with Going Back Where I Belong. You're accompanied by your guitarist, Tony. Catch up with past music shows on our website and stay in touch on social media. Keep it right here on France 24. Lots more news coming up. Take it away.
Got myself a ticket, gonna board this lonesome train. I gave a man a broken heart, and things will never be the same. Leaving this town, no use hanging around. I may be wrong, but we can't get along, and I'm going back where I belong. Took my daddy for granted. You know I played him for a fool. Found out later that I love him some, after breaking love's a golden rule. Leaving this town, no use hanging around. No, no. I may be wrong, but we can't get along, and I'm going back where I belong.